a good choice on the subjects of this agenda. Lord, we ask that you be with our leaders of this county, of this state, and of this country, and they turn to you, Lord, as these trying times and look to you for your guidance, Lord. And please be with our first responders, our military, our police, and we pray this in your Son's name. Amen.
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 Who's next? Oh yeah, Kenley.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now you can go make fun of your brother. It wasn't that hard. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Leyland.
Present.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Present.
Commissioner Locke.
Here.
Chair Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Howie.
Present.
Commissioner Barrera.
Present.
Commissioner Marquetti.
Here.
And Commissioner Lee.
Here. All right, everybody's here. Welcome. We're going to open the floor for public comment, but before we do, let everybody know you have 3 minutes. There won't be any back and forth, but we need you to say who you are, where you're from, and if you need more time, let me know at the end of the 3 minutes, and I'll ask the board if it's okay. I'd ask you not to attack any of us or anybody in the audience. If you do, I might get to slam this hammer down. But please be nice. We're all adults here, professionals, so we need to all act like it. So with that said, anybody wants to talk, the floor is yours. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we got a microphone up there so we can all hear. Yeah, I put you on the spot.
Hello, everybody. For everybody that doesn't know who I am, I'm Kelly Smith, and for the past 8 years, I've worked with the Cass County Sheriff's Office as the evidence room and the vehicle maintenance coordinator. Over the years, I've told my husband many times how thankful and proud I am to be a part of the Cass County Sheriff's Office staff. Last fall, I was dealing with some health issues, which required me to undergo several testings and hospital visits. While undergoing these tests, it was determined that I had breast cancer. On December 21st, I had a complete left breast mastectomy, and now I am proud to say that I am cancer-free. The reason for my public comment tonight is not for what I went through, but instead to recognize Sheriff Richard Banky, Under Sheriff Clint Roach, Shannon Jurgensen, Tracy Monroe, and his complete staff there at the Cass County Sheriff Office for their support, their guidance, and most of all, the true compassion that they showed to me. I'd like to make sure that he's recognized for that. While I know that this is what they would do for anyone that's dealing with a serious illness or any type of an issue as what I was going through, but what they did for me, they gave me great comfort. It made my journey less stressful, and it made my recovery a lot easier. And for that, I will be grateful, forever grateful, to Sheriff Richard Banky and his staff for the kindness that they had showed to me. Thank you for allowing me to share tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Kelly, for letting
Yeah.
us know. Yes, thank you.
Well, for everybody's information, I shut the timer off for that one. All right, Mr. Howie. Yeah? I'm going to put the timer on you.
I know last year you wrote a contract or signed a contract with Market Van Buren, and I am concerned about the money we spend with Market Van Buren, and being from the business world, I'm all about return on investments. Cass County invested in this place, and I would like reports on what we're getting for our money. We're paying them $100,000 a year, roughly, correct? We should be saying way more than $100,000 in return revenue from that service. So my request for you, this board, is I want to see reports on what they're doing for us, where our money's at, and are we getting the money back, as we should be, from that group. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
That's a good idea. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Honorable Commissioners, my name is Andrew Payne. I'm the business agent for the Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council. I represent multiple units in the county. I'm here to talk about an issue that's not exclusive to Cass County. Cass County, like many surrounding cities, are having a difficult time hiring and retaining officers. This is not only a local problem, but a statewide issue. According to the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, there were slightly more than 23,000 police officers working in the state of Michigan in 2001. And today that number is approximately 18,500. The MCOL's website currently lists job ads from 88 Michigan police agencies. The Cass County Sheriff's Office is a full-service organization, and the quality of their public services are directly linked to the quality of the personnel that they recruit, hire, and retain. Failing to recruit and retain personnel that fit with the agency will have a direct impact on the organization's ability to serve your community. The Cass County Sheriff's Office has had its own issues with hiring and retention in the deputy unit. Since 2022, 7 officers have retired and 11 have resigned for better pay and benefits, and the Cass County Sheriff's Office currently has 10 openings for police officers. There have been some communications about mid-contract wage and pension changes that could help with officer retention and hiring in our deputy unit. The Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council does have a proposal that we believe could help, and I'd be happy to share that with you today. Thank you for your time and your consideration in this matter.
Sir, before you sit down, we're gonna have a spot, should have a spot for you to speak later on. And for clarification, you said you were gonna, would that be this, that you're gonna share the proposal?
Yes.
That's what this is? Okay. All right, we should be talking to you again, so please don't leave.
Okay.
Anybody else? Mr. Grice, you don't want to speak, man? All right, close the floor for public comment. We have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, oops, excuse
He's
me.
got it. Yes, sir.
Everybody should have a copy of this at their desk. Motion to reopen negotiations between Cass County and Ethel PLC Deputies Detectives Unit for consideration of wages, DB/DC trigger, and retirement contribution cap, and establish a county negotiating team consisting of County Administrator Newton, Finance Director Renfro, Liaison to Negotiations Chair Jones, and Sheriff Banky. I so move. Oh, sorry. It's
Don't
just-
have to.
It's just
And where are you going to put that under?
New business.
H?
New business.
new business.
No, new business.
Yeah, we don't want to put another.
And-
New
and-
business. Yes, ma'am.
And that looks to me like it's gonna be M-022-24.
2-3, I think.
23?
Can you say that again?
M-223-24.
M-23-20.
M-23.
23-24. All right. You got that, yeah. Yeah, both of us do. Mr. Lawrence,
Mr. Chairman, I would like to add to new business under the new business letter of understanding between Cass County and the Michigan Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council.
all right. And that's not a motion that we're gonna be discussing this, or are you intending on discussing this or doing business on this?
I think right now, because this is kind of new to the board, I think we need to discuss it, because
Okay.
this is not something that we have discussed yet.
All right. And we'll put that for number 2, under new business. FOPMOU or LOU. All right. Number 7, Commissioner Marquetti.
Yes, I move for approval of the agenda with the additions of the previous.
Second.
Have motion on the floor, support. Any discussion? We don't need a roll call for that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, no recognitions, no presentations. Number 10, Vice Chair Barrera.
I move the above listed items to be voted on at one time by roll call vote and be considered as a consent agenda by the Board of Commissioners.
Second.
Motion on the floor and support. Any discussion? Was everything that we covered during the cow. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Leyland,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Yes.
Commissioner Locke,
Yes.
Chair Jones.
Yep.
Commissioner Howie. Yes. Commissioner Barrera,
Yes.
Commissioner Marquetti.
Yes.
And Commissioner Lee.
Yes.
All right. Number 11, Commissioner Leyland.
The only thing I'd like to just make mention of is our weekly progress report on the historic courthouse will be published tomorrow, probably early afternoon. Once I get that, I'll send that out to everybody so everybody can see the current progress. Things are progressing well. Lots of steel going up, and they'll be pouring concrete late next week, and things are going good.
All right. Commissioner Lawrence.
Just like to reiterate that our ambulance service is still kind of in an uproar, and from what I understand from Chair Jones, that there is a township out there that doesn't want to be involved in helping to pay for the ambulance, so I don't know where we're going to go from here, but I think we need consideration. We need to be considering this.
And I don't know, not wanting to contribute would be the right way to, I think they want to do what they already had in progress.
Well, yes, but having done that,
Yeah.
they're not going to be giving money.
Right.
Isn't there a meeting next week, Tuesday? I think
Yeah.
it's Tuesday evening at Wayne Township
The
Hall.
sheriff is going north and south, so.
Oh.
5:30 at Wayne Township Hall.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Locke.
Not much. There was, Penn Township did come up with an agreement and price for the ambulance service there
Mhm.
for 2 rigs for the year. I think it was 122,000, I think.
Was it continuing the contract with Smackus?
Yeah, it was kind of revised, yeah. Yep.
All right.
But it's a year contract now.
Mhm. And for my district, we pay $3,000, which is a good deal. I think it's every month or every quarter.
I can't.
For the
I couldn't say
extension.
that for sure if it was 122 or 92.
Yeah, ours is an
I didn't have it.
extension.
I thought I had it in my book, but I don't.
That's okay. Commissioner Howie.
Last week, I attended a meeting about the Transit Authority. We met at First Church of Christ. We're planning on distributing brochures to the community ahead of the election so that people will be more aware of the importance of having this transit system. Along with that, Senator Lindsay had contacted me last week. He was going into appropriations and asked if there was any need. So I expressed yes, we had a need for the ambulance service, for the Transit Authority, and there was a third one.
For the sheriff.
Yeah, the sheriff. Sorry, Sheriff. So, you're the most important thing in my life. So I do believe there was some conversation with that, and then with the ambulance service. So it's like a Christmas wish list. Hopefully it will be there by midsummer, but any monies that will come in will be earmarked specifically for this. So I'm really excited and hopeful, and I will see Senator Lindsay on Monday night for an update. Also, my husband and I adopted a dog from the animal shelter a couple days ago, part lab and actually Irish setter. He was at the doctor today. Beautiful dog. We named him Frankie. And thank you to Ron for being so kind with helping us with this adoption and everything, so I encourage everyone to go and adopt a dog. There's
Just
so
glad
many
you didn't name it
beautiful dogs.
Jeremiah. Yeah, I bet. All right, thank you. Commissioner Barrera.
Yeah, at our last Economic Development Committee, we actually formed a subcommittee that's going to be meeting next Thursday to work on those metrics for Market Van Buren. I'd love to hear people's input. That meeting is going to be discussing what those metrics should look like. And we'll bring that back to the next following Economic Development Committee to be voted on and then brought to this board.
All right, Commissioner Marquetti.
Okey doke. All right, this is from my district. Plans are being made for the next Edwardsburg Chamber Fall Festival and Art Fair, and that's going to be on September 21st. The 2023 Fall Festival and Art Fair were so successful that the hours for the 2024 event are being extended to 3 p.m. From Mason Township, and the SEPSA board, SEPSA's ordered a new fire engine, and delivery is expected in early 2026. The Human Services Coordinating Council has undergone a reorganization. It has met on a monthly basis, except for December, for at least 10 years. But due to a drop-off in attendance, the council has decided to meet only 4 times a year. We'll have 2 meetings in person at the Cass District Library, and we'll have 2 meetings by Zoom. If attendance picks up, we can always make changes. And then the Materials Management Group, which consists of representatives from Cass, Van Buren, and Berrien County, has been meeting regularly. We are led by Becca Schrag of the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, and the group is now meeting like every 2 weeks. Soon I will be bringing 2 documents for your approval and for the chair's signature. We have already completed an agreement to appoint Southwest Michigan Planning Commission as our designated planning authority, and that we are going to join with Berrien and Van Buren counties. But the next documents, number 1 will be an interlocal agreement among the 3 counties, and then the other document will be a letter to 2 neighboring counties. We have to let Kalamazoo County and St. Joseph County, Michigan, advise them that we are partnering with Berrien and Van Buren counties on the project. And included in the letters that we have to send, we have to include a form that they send back to us acknowledging that they got the letter. And all of this is prescribed by Eagle. All of this materials management is everything is directed by Eagle. The courthouse committee met with members of Cass County's historical organizations that included the Edwardsburg and Dowagiac museums, Kathy LaPointe of the Underground Railroad and Bonine House, Jonathan Whitner of the Historical Library, the historical member from the Historical Commission, and a member from the Historical Society. And they were to send us information, and I understand from Ambrosia that she's gotten a ton of it. So we'll be all set for that when the time comes. The Planning Commission reviewed Marcellus Township Ordinance Book. One of the Planning Commission members had 3 questions, and we sent those 3 questions back to Marcellus for their answer. Onto Township asked for a review of their Planning Commission's denial of a rezone request, and after explanations from the Otwa Township Planning Commission Vice Chair, who was at the meeting, and the applicant's attorney, who was also at the meeting, as well as discussion, the county PC voted, but there was a 3-3 deadlock, so no action was taken. And that's it for me.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Lee.
I had a Southwestern Michigan Behavioral Health Board meeting. We went through the numbers of last year, so the number of people that were treated through them last year for varying addictions, a little over 300 people, and then the breakdown of that through the county as far as which was the worst to the most common thing. And it turned out alcohol was the most common treated, followed by meth within the county. And actually, quite a substantial amount for that meth, too. It's 34%.
Wow.
There's just a little bit of a legislature update that I was looking at. There's the potential coming down the line, if it passes, for taxation
on e-cigarettes, vaping, etc. Just it's in the pipe, so we don't know if it's going to pass, but just wanted to let you guys know it's there, and it might be a way to have an income at the county level. And then I sat in on a countywide EMT meeting with Keith Carter from Calvin Township, and then several of the EMT services, where they basically just started a discussion on like ways to work together. It was very, very insightful to hear that. And then they do plan on trying to do that at least quarterly from now on. And that's what I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Administrator.
Yeah, a couple things. My written report is in the packet. I'm going to touch on a couple things. First, to piggyback off of Commissioner Lehman's report on the historic courthouse, we are working on, we were in there today. There is a lot, as he indicated, a lot of work going on. We'll have new pictures posted tomorrow to give some updates on what's going on and give a visual representation to go along with the written report, so keep a lookout for that. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick is the Cass Area Artists Association is having their spring exhibit starting soon. Intake for art is this weekend, and then the opening reception will be on February 10th from 2 to 4, so a week from Saturday. It's always exciting to see the walls go from kind of more of a barren white to all of the different art from our local artists, so excited for that. The last thing I wanted to touch on is our accounts payable process. We've been talking about this quite some time now, and I wanted to give a shout out to all of our departments and offices throughout the county. Over the last month, we've actually started to implement the changes. So we went from a very paper-intensive process to this week having no paper involved whatsoever. Everything was scanned in, all the approvals were done digitally. A big thank you to Commissioner Lawrence and Commissioner Howie for working with us on the review process from the commissioners portion in a digital way, where we have some ideas on how to make that a little easier for next time too. But it went very smooth, and I think it's a testament to how there are big things we can do across the county to make things more efficient and better for everyone. And it's not something that happens quick. Often it takes time, it takes a lot of planning and a lot of coordination, but we can do some fun things and we can make big changes if we do it right. And this is hopefully the start of how we can continue to broaden that outside of just the accounts payable stuff, but to other areas of the county. So again, thanks for all of our departments and offices that have gone through the changes and sat down with me and members of my team and said, hey, how does this apply to us and how can we make it work? And kind of going out on a limb with us to say, you know what, we'll try it. And hopefully a month from now, we're talking about how amazing it is, and we're never going back. So.
All right. Anybody any questions for Matt? All right. County partners. Corey, you have anything for us? Or
I'm just here for fun.
you're here for? Oh boy, I could think of more fun things to do and places to be, man. Nitro Zone and Dewajak has axe throwing. We have our maintenance director here. I will consider you a partner.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, fellas. And Corey. Elected officials. We have the sheriff.
Things to report on. Very proud this week, the county jail was given 100% compliance from the Department of Corrections. Good news, the last 2 years we had some hiccups. This is a pretty big deal. Not only does it help with our insurance, with MMRMA to have that approval, but it's a very lengthy and tedious process. Captain Shoup did a great job preparing the policies and procedures and reports that have to be kept up to date, as well as all the paperwork through medical, through feeding the inmates, through everything we have to do has paperwork involved in it. He has it all in order and ready to go. Also like to thank Dave Reed for keeping the facility standing, because it is 32 years old and there's been a lot of challenges that you know about as well. So thank you for addressing those as we call quite frequently. We're preparing for a lien audit, which is the same thing, but it's all paper related and making sure our security is appropriate. for the use of lien services. And that doesn't just involve Jen Robinson from dispatch, but also involves your IT department, because they're the security portion of that. And Jody Nessich has been real good. We've had good lien audits that come up every other year, and we've been having a good job there, so we're happy to have that. Which gets me into animal control. I wasn't here last month for the last meeting, but I guess there were some comments about animal control. And I just want to set the record straight. Animal control's passed every inspection they've had from the state since I've been sheriff. And the stinky part about it is they don't tell you when they're coming. They just show up and do their audit and do their inspection. Ron does a great job making sure the facility's clean and that we have the proper needs for the animals that are in the building. So kudos to Ron for that, and the staff continues to work on that. Could the facility have some upgrades? Absolutely, absolutely, but they're doing a great thing. The facility's meant for 35 dogs, and they've been as high as 60 dogs in the building over the last year and a half, so they're doing a great job, and I give kudos to Ron and his staff for that. The other thing that a lot of people, and I like to brag about, is our live release rate is still above 90% for the 4th consecutive year, and that's great news for the county residents. So what that means is the animals that come into the shelter, 90% of the time leave the shelter alive. Can't say that's the way it was years ago, but I actually asked Ron to look at that and be part of that, try to resolve a solution for that, and he did by investing in transfer partners. And those transfer partners, he has 29 of them in 3 states that he works to help get not only them animals, but to help us release animals to them as well. So problem is all of them are starting to get overloaded and full, so it's hard to get those out. The other thing that was brought up during that meeting was the possibility of maybe having a Facebook page and having a pet of the week. And Ambrosia kind of picked up that ball, and Ron has provided a pet, and I want to report that Sadie, who was on last week's, got adopted today.
Oh, super. Oh, yay.
Today.
Wonderful.
So that's good, but there's another doggy in there that's this week's dog, and it's kind of cute.
It's on our TVs in the building too.
Uh-oh. Yes, it is, yes, yeah.
Anyway, so good things can come from that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that the animal control's doing an excellent job. They are looking for the people that you approve, them to hire part-time. Ron was doing some interviews today, so I want him to, he's working hard to get the staff levels back up, and we'd like to look at the possibility of the barn that Ron's been talking about for the last couple of years, and it's a fenced-in area for better exercise for the animals as well. So I just wanted to touch base on those divisions and give them a lot of kudos and thanks for what they're doing. I'm sure
Thanks,
we'll
Sheriff.
talk about a little more later. So.
All right. Treasurer.
Good evening. I just wanted to real quick bring your attention to the current status of property tax delinquencies within our county. As of today, we still have 190 parcels at high risk of foreclosures due to unpaid 2021 taxes. As we normally do this time of year, my office is taking proactive measures to address this issue. Between now and April 1st, I'll be conducting personal visits to many of those homeowners. Some of these homeowners will qualify for hardship extensions or payment plans. Those who do not qualify will have to pay the 2021 taxes by end of day of April 1st of 2024. We also have 1,113 parcels with delinquent 2022 property taxes. These delinquent numbers are a little higher than the previous year by about 200 parcels, and that is a concerning trend. Homeowners are telling me that the increased cost of essential goods and services like groceries and fuel is significantly impacting their budgets. My office will continue to do everything we can to prevent property tax foreclosures in our county, but I did want to bring that information to you. I'd also like to express my appreciation to Sheriff Banky's office for their invaluable assistance during this crucial tax collection time period. As part of our standard operating procedure, I have an enhanced security measures in my office the last couple days of this month. And we also, on those personal visits, a deputy does accompany me. So I do appreciate all of your support with that. That's all I had today. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, do you have a breakdown of the tax delinquents by townships?
I can get that.
I can't be mad at him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Didn't we just talk about this, Jerry?
You were out talking.
I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you. Me and Jerry go back and forth. When I see him, I say, I'm gonna come to one of your meetings. Now I'm gonna be there. Clerk's office.
Thank you. I do want to talk a little bit about elections and talk about the cost of elections, especially after Hope was talking about our taxpayers. Obviously, our taxpayers in Cass County, they are hurting. And we are seeing that in my office as well. I ran some brief numbers this afternoon. 2018 is when we went to no reason absentee voting. And the cost of running a standalone special election, those are the May special elections, was about $10,000. Last May, the cost of that had doubled. So the only entity that does that in our county is Edwardsburg Schools. Every May they call a special election. So this year, for the first time ever, we have the requirement of paying for return postage. And so it's not just the cost of a stamp. When we have the return postage, they charge a handling fee. So they charge $1.07 for every piece of election mail to mail it. And if you've ever voted absentee, it's not just the ballot. There are about 3 envelopes that your ballot is enclosed in. So I ran the numbers. And for everything that's required, it costs $7 on average for one ballot to be mailed back and forth. That does not include the cost of the staff to process all of that. That's just to mail and for the supplies. So I've heard from 3 school districts that plan to call special elections this May. And I'm saying this because these school districts call these special elections and they pay for them out of pocket when they could have free elections, because we have February, August, and November. They could have free elections. But it's gonna cost the school districts, instead of money going to their students, they pay out of pocket for these. Ontowa Township has 1,560 absentee voters that by law, they have to mail ballots to every election. Do the math, that's just shy of 11,000 voters, or $11,000 just to mail ballots. Elections are expensive. So please think about that. If you know school board members, if you know staff, I know I am a parent of 2 kids in school and we need things in our school district. I urge our school district to place their proposals on the August ballot so that they pay nothing for it. It just makes a lot of sense. So these elections have skyrocketed and we all need to think about being a little more fiscally responsible. I think our residents need to be educated about what the cost is, especially when they're struggling to pay their taxes already. And these elections are going to raise their taxes.
And that's all part of that proposal.
Proposal 2 is killing us.
Yeah.
It's doubled the work and doubled the cost, and we are losing good clerks right and left.
And people voted in without.
They didn't know what it
didn't
all
have no idea
entailed.
what it.
Nope, they did not.
Wow, that's terrible.
It is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, no unfinished business. Under new business, we have Commissioner Leyland's motion, and I will leave that to you.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor, support. I think I can, after that, I want to ask the gentleman in the back, Andy or Mr. Payne, is this something that we agree, we vote on this to agree to open up negotiations. From here, we request that you all would, if you all would like to open up negotiations also, right? Is that how that will work?
Well, I think for this, for this limited issue,
Mm-hmm.
for these limited issues, yes, we'd be willing to open it up.
And so we just send a request. So if we vote to open up negotiations, the only people that need to say yes to it is us and the FOP. And then from there, we would open up negotiations. And how long would that take to do like this limited? Would that delay unnecessarily, do you think? Or would it expedite it? What do you think? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, so, but I am. I'm sorry. I didn't do that on purpose, man. I'm sincere.
Well, that's a good question.
Wait, I'm sorry, just, yeah, I guess the question would be, you know, what would happen if we opened up for just this limited issue would be, you know, having additional meetings.
Right.
You know, I mean, I guess, I don't know what, I'm not sure what that would accomplish. I mean, I think that our proposal is pretty straightforward. You know, it seems like, you know, it could be agreed to or not. I don't know.
And depending on what happens with this next one, it might not even be a reason to. Because we're opening up negotiations, but our very next agenda item is to discuss what the negotiations would be. So if the board is in agreement with this, then there's a possibility that there will be no need for or there might be, you know, who knows? So
Would you like
yes,
to discuss the next motion first, then
That's-
work on this?
up to the board or up to me?
I mean, because that can be done. We can lay this one on the table, take up the next motion, then take it from the table after.
Or it's up to Ryan, because it's his motion,
That's a board decision if we lay it on the table.
and we come back to it, or do them both,
Right, right,
because
so we
this
could-
directly reflects that.
We could lay this on the table, bring up the next motion, discuss it, if it passes, then we don't need to take it from the table. If it fails, then we take it from the table.
Got it.
Is that,
That's good. Sounds good. Anybody in opposition to that?
Yeah, no, excuse me.
I know what you meant. All right, so we'll move to the next. We're tabling.
no, that does need to be voted on.
All right, so
The table.
Yeah,
We need a
so
motion.
we need a motion for that then, to table it.
I move to lay this motion on the table.
All right.
Second.
Have motion on the floor and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it is tabled. Next one. The FOP, Letter of Understanding between Cass County and Michigan Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council, who happens to be here. You have the floor, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you. This is kind of lit up from the salary committee when they met and they approved a 10% increase for the road deputies. And Mr. Banky came back and said, thank you very much for that, that's very generous, but there's other issues that go along with this that the 10% can't cover. And one of those issues was a trigger, and then the other one was the DC plan, but the trigger in particular. So we okayed to send to the sheriff to let him okay it, and he looked at it, and then he took it to the to get okayed, and they came back and said, no, we can't okay this because we don't have a cap on the maximum of payout of the employees, and there are still, the DC plan is still an issue. So we came back and I made recommendations a couple of weeks ago, and those recommendations were given to Sheriff Banky. He took those to the union, and the union steward looked at them and said, that looks good. So from that point, we came to this letter of understanding between Cass County and Michigan Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council. And they have, ultimately, they have agreed to this. And what it entails is a 6% pay increase for the deputies, and no more to amend the retirement plan section of the contract to reflect that, take away that trigger. And then there would be no DC plan for new hirees. New hirees would come in and come into the DB plan. So having said all that, any questions?
Yes. Sheriff, is this the exact same document that you emailed us as commissioners? The very last email, is this the exact same thing that you emailed us?
I believe so. The last thing, yes.
I need the yes or no.
I can't remember what the last email is, I don't have it in front of me.
Okay,
I have a copy of it. I printed it off.
so you've got the last one compared to this
Plus
one.
the email that
Right.
you told me.
Right. And the other question, just out there, it's not directed at anybody specifically. Reading through this really quickly, I didn't see where it says road deputies. This is just for the road deputies, right, Mr. Lawrence? This is just for the
Yes.
road deputies
Detective.
and detective,
This unit is road deputies and detectives.
because that's one whole unit, not just, yeah. Okay.
I'm curious, with 14.4 in those sections that are removed, where it talks about DB pension benefits being drawn upon after a combined total of 25 years, like, are those sections detailed in some other area? Like, if they're combined with DB and DC, is there some section that spells out how the DB works in another area of the contract? Or, I guess I'm curious, if we're removing those sections, is that leaving a void where
It's,
that is left unanswered? I guess I haven't had a chance to look through the whole contract overall to see if that was there.
14.1.
Curious if that had been contemplated.
14.1.
14.4, I know it goes into talking about vesting and when retirement benefits can be drawn, and I think this was combining the DB and the DC discussion. I think in removing the DC language, I'm curious, is there still language regarding the DB and how that would work somewhere else, or not?
That's 14.1, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's 14.1.
I think these were.
14.1 just clarifies that in and of itself? Okay.
25
Making
years.
sure.
Yeah, vested after 10 years.
25 years.
I guess the question I'm asking is just that we're confident that nothing in those two sections that's referencing the DB, there's no other areas where that was exclusive to just the proposed transition, there's nothing else in there?
Without having the whole contract in front of me, I'm almost positive that's all 14.1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
14.4 was a different.
Okay, I'm
But I
just
do
making
not
sure.
have that in front of me.
Yeah, so that right there, that statement there is a good reason for us to have the discussion and to not move on it till we have definites, because if I'm, and we're all in favor of helping our law enforcement, don't get us wrong. All in favor of that, but we have long-lasting things here that we want to make sure we do it right, because we're here for a reason. Apparently, it hasn't been done right before, so we want to do it right this time. You know, because when I call 911, I want the police to show up, so.
If 14.14 in whole would be removed, I think it looks like in this particular iteration, D, where it says DC funds can only be accessed when, if everything else is deleted, I'm guessing that probably would go as well. Because it would be odd to have everything else remain or be removed and D stay on its own.
There is a,
There wouldn't be a DC in that example,
there,
so.
right? Well, there is a DC the county must provide that employees can do on their own.
Mm-hmm.
That's at 457,
That's
right?
457.
So I think that's addressed in 14.5, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like,
It is.
I guess I'm just saying D looks like it was tied to
It is.
14.4, and if that is, that whole section would be removed under this, then, you know, does D need to stay, or should that be removed too?
There's too many questions on this.
Yeah, that's why we,
Besides, misspelled words. I have too many questions, so.
and do,
And I would say
Go
this,
ahead.
right?
Yeah.
If I may.
yeah.
The questions on the table with respect to looking at this LOU versus having a series of meetings for negotiations. I mean, I think what it really boils down to is, when we go back, and I think we can probably point to maybe November as the time when this discussion started as to what we might do. There's been some back and forth in terms of, oh, what about this? And then the board reviewed it and said, well, hey, how about that? And so we've kind of had a negotiating process, but it's been taking place as a whole board. And that's not really how we normally would want to have that. I mean, I think what really comes down to in this case is if the board as a whole says, you know what, we like what's in this LOU, we're good. I don't know that you necessarily have to do that. But if you would say, you know what, if there's any chance that there might be some changes to this, then that's where I think maybe having that negotiating session could be helpful to say, okay, you know, let's sit down, let's figure out a plan, and then everybody bring back a final, here's what we recommend, up or down.
Talking about this
That could be done if you
negotiation.
wanted to. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm saying both routes are probably fine. It's really, I think, up to the board to determine, like, what do you want to see? Like, is this, as it is, something the board feels comfortable with? Or is it, hey, you know what, we are okay with wages, but we'd like to have more discussion on some of this? I mean, the other thing to note with this is that it does do away with the trigger, but when the trigger was in place, it would have a employer-employee contribution breakdown of 70-30 up to 50%, when contribution rates may reach 50%. So effectively, when the trigger would start, would be a 15% employee required contribution. This does set a cap at 10%, so it does lower the cap of what would have been here. So it's not just removing the trigger, it's also reducing the total, you know, I mean, and that's not to say that that can't be a discussion. Maybe that makes sense to put that cap there. I'm just wanted to make sure the board was aware that that's part of that too.
Well, I'm with Roseanne. We need to look through this and put thought to it and correct the errors that, because I haven't seen it, but there's some errors that she says she has found, so we can't approve something that isn't 100%. You know, I don't know if anybody's got any other input on that.
Does Mr. Payne have anything that he wants to add to this discussion?
Feel free, man.
I think the sheriff has something.
Yes, sir. Yeah, don't forget that.
I'm old and
Ain't that old.
I understand the concern, and I take 100% of the blame for not having my contract. But by the same token, you've had this letter of understanding for a few days, and we could have had some discussions before today, which would have been helpful. So obviously, these just didn't come up just this very second. As far as the process, this is the process you chose. I didn't choose to go through this process. I was told we're gonna, after we had the meeting in December, then there was gonna be a workshop. And we have a workshop in January. And I felt it should have went back to the salary committee or something else, because doing a workshop is just like doing it in a meeting, there's no difference. And then the workshop was really not productive. An hour and a half workshop, most workshops are much longer and deal with particular issues. You guys had a bigger priority that day. So as far as the process, that's the process of your choosing. We didn't demand that or ask for that. As far as delaying, and I understand, and I probably agree with you that it should be delayed, but truth be told, I had 2 people resign last week. I think I made that clear in the email I shared with you guys earlier this week. I was hoping I could get this done to try to save one of them, because he said it might have been a possibility. He'll be leaving next week. We'll start with driving police, and it was kind of my goal. And delaying that will defeat that goal. Will he stay if it happens? I can't guarantee that either. He reflected to me in his exit interview some of that and some other information. I just wanted to share with you the people who've left before retirement. I've commented there's been 11 people to leave since September of 2021 when the trigger was first, not the trigger, the pension issue was first brought up to this bargaining unit. And there's Mackenzie Kreiner, who went to Grand Traverse County, Devin Krogel, who went to Van Buren County, Roger Outlaw, who went to Pokagon Tribal, Jason Pompey, who went to Dowagiac, and Jessica Earl, who went to Wayland, Adam Earl, who went to Allegan, and Veronica Granados, who went to St. Joseph. And all of these commented about the pension issue that was brought up as a reason for their leaving. We had 2 others leave. They didn't continue into law enforcement. They went into different practices of different fields, but I felt it was important. We've also had 7 people leave that retired. 5 of those people chose the purchase service credit, as they put it to me, so their pension wouldn't get robbed. That was Kevin Cook, who went to Pokagon Tribal, Sergeant Phil Esseray, who went to Edwardsburg Police, Tim Gondek, who went to Pokagon Tribal, Sergeant Phil Small, who went to Marcellus Schools. They're kind of doing a dual role there, but they're mostly maintenance people, as well as Tim Schur. There was 3 others who retired and did not continue on into, well, Captain Jacobs has come back to work for us in courthouse security, so he's kind of back in, he's back working with us. My point to all this is a lot of these people would still be here today if we would have had a little bit better system to offer, as Andy Payne from the union has commented. We're all going for the same people, and that they're looking for the best deal. And while he said there's 80 agencies on the MCOL's website, I counted 240 when I went through it. And I went through the page by page. The other problem this presents is the quality of the people that we're now trying to consider. The people that I would have not even thought about 3 years ago, the people that would have came in with an application that would have been straight into the circular file, we're considering. This week we interviewed a person who's been in 7 traffic crashes, 4 in squad cars, and fired from 3 police agencies. Because we have to. Because we have to. Because the seats are empty. I talked about, there was reference about 10 vacancies. 10 vacancies in the sheriff's office. You have 4 in the drug division. We now have a vacancy in the Howard Township position. We can't fill 3 positions of contracts that we have that are currently have in Silver Creek, Marcellus, and I can't see this, I didn't write it down. But anyway, my point is well taken, I would assume. And I talked about during an open meeting about the fact that we're not that far away from not having 24-hour road patrol. How'd you like to be the county that doesn't have an ambulance service, that doesn't have 24-hour road patrol? I'd move there. So I'm just trying to say, this is a very important issue, and I understand it's a contractual issue, but I want to ask you this, how many people have left other county agencies that had to go to the DC? I don't think they had 11 people leave. I don't think they had more than 15.
We won't know that answer, Sheriff. So
anyway, I just wanted to make that point.
Please don't sit down. We got questions for you.
I think I just clarified a couple things for you.
Yeah. So I'm going to try my best to respond and not react. I think that would be appropriate. So three years ago, approximately, when this contract was going on, weren't you part of those negotiations?
Absolutely.
And being in law enforcement, the longest person serving here, you didn't see the potential that this would happen back then by agreeing to all this? Where was this at 3 years ago?
During the negotiations, it was agreed upon by the union and the county administration. I was the 3rd man out in that room. But I told people at that time the trigger is the absolute worst thing we could do. I told the people in the room the trigger doesn't give you anything. It gives you nothing to put your money on. If you want to have a DC pension, you don't know if you don't have it yet. If you want to have a DB pension, you don't know how long that's going to last. So really, you don't have any pension. You have something, but we really don't know what it is. In this room just 2 weeks ago, your county administrators asked, well, what is the trigger? And I had to say 50%. I mean, that's how confusing it is. People who should have knowledge of what these things are in the contracts should come to them really quickly, but they can't. I even asked the question one time, what's the trigger? So it's confusing. So when I have an employee, potential employee come in, and they ask me, what's your pension? And I say, well, we have this thing called the trigger. And they look at me like I have 6 eyes. And I have to explain what a trigger is. And they go, see ya.
So, another response, you had said that we've all had this for the last couple of days. We were blind copied in that email, and it would be hard for us as a board of 8 to vote on something. Well, we can't vote on nothing, but it'd be hard for us to get responses back and forth, especially when I responded to all the email. Every one of those emails I responded to, but it's still hard for me to relay that to the other 7 commissioners in that short a period before we get here, so we can all make an educated decision.
I couldn't agree with you more.
So us having it a couple days earlier, I really didn't even know who all had it a couple days earlier because we were all blind copied in it.
That's your county administrator's job. He's supposed to be the person communicating with you on these issues, and he's the person you should be communicating
You sent
on
that
these
to
issues.
us.
I'm sorry, that is the definition,
All right.
communication.
Is it
All right.
sent to me in that way? I mean, we have a deadline for when agendas are done. Did I get those on time? I
Yeah,
mean,
you're right.
I sent the original request for this on Thursday
sorry.
of last week, and I was told Friday night it was not
Right.
going to be allowed.
And
I think we
have a
should
predetermined
just,
we're gonna-
process and-
we're
We can just take a step
let's
back for
step
a
back
second,
from
guys.
it. You're right.
I know
You're
this is a
right.
hot topic, and there's a reason why we're discussing it here
And
tonight.
I don't want to
I
react
just,
instead of.
I just felt there needed to be some other things put on the table here. And I think you all know me as a pretty passionate person.
I was just gonna say, what I got on Thursday last week was not something that we could have brought here, plain and
All right.
simple.
Okay.
So the form I used is to bring that to the board is a form that your county administrator said, this is a form that a county elected official can use to bring an item to the agenda.
I'm not talking
I was
about
brought
that.
to-
Yeah,
I'm talking about
we got
the
it.
MOU that wasn't.
I'm going to end this conversation because we're getting out of hand, Sheriff. Please.
Let me just answer
One-
that.
last
At that
one.
point, I don't think it needed to be an LOU. This is more a discussion, is it an accepted item for you to take? If that was the case, then an LOU would follow up. Once you had requested an LOU, I had the union get involved and they made the LOU. But the information I shared at that time on Thursday was more just an idea. Why would we write out a whole LOU if it's not gonna be a good idea?
Mhm.
That was my reasoning for that.
Got
And
it.
the request was to go to the next committee of the whole, which would have been.
That was
February
never
15th.
said at that meeting about.
All right. What are we doing? Matt, please.
I
That's
just
a
have
no.
a quick
Go ahead.
question. If we circle back to the idea of the renegotiation, I'm just curious, how soon does that begin?
That would be probably as soon as we relay that and they tell us yes or no, and we just start making appointments.
One of the things that I would like to kind of reiterate on here, this really needs to be done as quick as we can do it. If we can discuss it today, schedule a special meeting to vote on this, I think that's the way we need to go.
Well, we got to get it right before we vote on anything.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, if we do decide to reopen negotiations, it would be nice to have a date set that they're required to be done by, basically.
Right.
So let's see what Mr. Payne has to say.
Go ahead, man.
Okay, so, you know, to kind of go on what the sheriff said, I mean, the reason we're here is we want to be able to help retain employees and help to recruit new good employees, new good deputies here with the sheriff's department. And, you know, that's why we had presented the letter of understanding. I just want to make sure that everyone understands what our response was on the negotiation. I mean, you know, we've got this letter of understanding. We're definitely more than willing to discuss this and negotiate over this. I mean, as far as opening up the contract, the entire contract or a large portion of it, you know, and talking to the union president, no, they would not be interested in doing that. But obviously, we would negotiate this letter of understanding here and have no problem with that. I have to apologize because I'm a little unprepared as my boss, Dave Willis, who is actually doing the negotiation on this particular letter of understanding. Sometimes we do that. You have different tasks. He happens to be in in Vegas this week on training with the Fraternal Order of Police, so he couldn't be here today, otherwise he would be. So for the future, it'll probably be him taking care of this, because I was dealing all over the state with disciplinary issues. That seems to happen at the beginning of the year for some reason. So he kind of took this. So I want to apologize for being a little unprepared on the questions. I tried to get up to speed on this, but he would definitely be able to answer the questions a little better than I am today.
That's fine. We don't hold it against you.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you, I appreciate that. But like I said, we definitely would be willing, and we have been negotiating this document here, and, whatever needs to be worked out, we're definitely willing to discuss. Whether or not we actually have to have get together with formal meetings for that, I don't know, but.
Well, I think the disconnect came in is where you were having negotiations with everybody but a representative from us. And if that had happened, then we would all been on the same page and probably wouldn't be arguing and, fighting back and forth. But let me pause you for a second. With your motion, was it your intention just to open up negotiations just for this?
Yeah, nothing else outside of the things mentioned specifically in the motion.
So because we don't want to do the whole contract, that's a whole nother time,
No. And, Mr. Payne, you said that with this limited issue, we would be willing to do additional meetings. You said
Yeah.
that tonight.
Yeah.
And if I may.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Goodness knows, I agree with you, I agree with the sheriff, and for as long as I've been here, I've been supportive of all of our first responders, our sheriff's department, et cetera. I have a little problem with this, because this is exceptionally hard to understand, first of all. Secondly, there's misspelled words. Thirdly, there's dates with no year on them, and I don't understand some of this. This is not a good instrument. That's what I'm saying. I'm not opposed to opening up negotiations. I'm not opposed to helping as much as we can. This is not a good instrument. Whatever we do has to be the very best thing.
Absolutely.
Whatever comes out of this board has to be the very best thing we do. This isn't it, in my opinion. And no, please, do not take offense at anything I say.
You have
I
anything
mean no
to say?
offense. I'm delighted you're here.
I just want to focus back to, so we can focus our scope just on this item, but how soon can we begin?
Good question.
So, I would have to talk to our labor director on that.
Mhm.
If he continues to handle it, or if he's gonna want me to step in and handle it. I assume he'll probably continue to handle it. Like I said, we felt that it was important enough.
Sure.
Because this meeting was kind of sprung on us, which is fine. We felt it was important.
That's my fault.
To get here to this meeting, and so that's why I came here
Sure.
instead of our labor director, or he would have been here.
Yeah, and again, thank you for coming. The reason I asked that question over and over again, because I understand that this is a statewide issue, and this is going on all over the place, and not just in our county. We want to make sure, as Commissioner Marquetti said, we were doing the right, absolute best thing for our residents. If we go down this road, I just want to know that we are going to get the ball rolling, and it's not like this situation where we're in line to, this is going to drag out even longer than we anticipated because other negotiations are going on. I don't know, I don't know what that entails on your guys' side.
Yeah, I know our labor director, he'd be on it immediately as soon as he returned from, because
The
I
training.
was there this week and training, and then immediately.
Because I know my concern is that we do want to get this resolved, and I know there's other members on this board that want to get this
Agreed.
resolved.
Yep,
Agreed?
And
Absolutely.
I don't know if this LOU, if it was written at 100% accuracy and all spelled out for us to vote on it tonight, I still don't think that we can save the people going to the tribe, because the tribe, we can't compete with the tribe. We can't compete with the training, the money. They got way more money than what we're trying to do here. So if, we leave that out of there, we can't compete with the tribe.
Well, I think actually we can. Because
Think so?
These are
Yeah.
These are union positions here. These are not at-will positions, whereas.
Yes, sir, please.
My hand on this because
Yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of directly involved with it, so. Talk about competing with the tribe, I understand that, but I guess the issue at hand, and piggybacking on what the sheriff said, we've lost a significant amount of people, decades of experience, and the people that we're bringing on now are people that are academy graduates, zero experience whatsoever. And this is a start to what needs to be fixed with it, but as the sheriff said, the pension and the benefits, which are comparable to the tribe.
Okay.
Maybe we should be closer, but we're not comparable to St. Joe County.
Right.
We're comparable to, the only person we're comparable in the county to is Cassopolis PD, which I'm not sure if you know, but you know, in the summertime, our population grows to about 90,000 people. And, you know, the city of Dowagiac, who has more pay, better benefits, they have 5,000 people. So the workload for us is way more significant. Not saying that that deserves more wages, but it does need to be more comparable to those agencies, and we shouldn't be at the bottom.
Right.
And I agree with the sheriff with what he said 100%, that it's accurate, that
All
it
right.
needs to be fixed. And I know it's gonna take some negotiating to make sure that this document's right, but
Right.
this is just a start to what needs
Okay.
to happen to bring it back, because, I mean, here, by this time next year, when we're standing in front of you, I'll be one of the most senior deputies at 6 years for this department, which I never would anticipate to ever happen. I've lost all my friends that work here, and I continue to lose them, and everybody that I work with now, I don't know, so.
Right, I understand.
I know they're great people, I know that others here have been a part of the department when it was what it was before, but the moment that everything changed was the moment with the last contract negotiations. And it wasn't the fact that one person sat in there, because a lot of people here sat in that negotiations. And that changed to where the sergeants now have a different retirement, and so if I wanna promote at 40 years old, I have to start my retirement over. And that's not acceptable.
No,
And it's not fair.
no, it's not.
If it helps,
And when it
Right.
was negotiated, which Mr. Newton brought to my labor council, it was to take more of our retirement away, to move all our new employees to a DC plan, which was negotiated at the very beginning when we
Yes,
said
it was.
we would happy to keep our DB and move everybody to a DC when his contract was negotiated, and that was denied. And now, to get a 6% pay increase, we have to get rid of our new employees' pension. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's an accurate way to solve the problem. And I think if we keep going down this line, it's just gonna continue to get worse. So, I mean, this was brought to us, and we thought it was good just to help with, you know, things at the time being. I know there's some misunderstandings and some things that need to be addressed in it, but I don't think we're looking at the picture of a whole, because we've all been here since the beginning of the negotiation for the most part, and we all seen this, and now we see the outcome of it. And as the union representative, the union president, I hear it from everybody, you know, why are you leaving, Joe? Why are you leaving, Josh? Because of the pay and the benefits. Because I can go someplace else.
And you said this is a start to the fix. So that puts fear in all of us is what's next. But do we even know what that could be?
And that could just be, you know, getting it out there and recruiting people and telling them that what we have. But, you know, we all seen when this change took place, and that was the last contract negotiation, and our pension was attacked. I mean, we've been in this facility a number of times with Becky Moore and Jeff Carmen when it came about, and, you know, spoke with them and pleaded with them. And when it came down to it, especially for the sergeants, they were given an option for a 10,000 bonus, which seemed like it was kind of a bribe almost, and then told that if you don't accept this contract, we're gonna take it to arbitration, and when it goes to arbitration, you're gonna lose anyways, and the next proposal won't be as good as the first one you got. And so to say that, you know, the sheriff was there for that, and everybody, in the end, the sergeants voted on that, and they voted in a way that they felt they had to do it. I don't think, you know, some of the people that are leaving as of Tuesday would have voted that way if they didn't feel that they had to, so.
Got it.
That's some of the issues, that's.
I do want to make it known that the majority of us weren't even serving at that time.
No, I
We're all,
understand.
and then the ones that were not very little involved in that. I mean, I just want you to know,
That's
you know, we definitely, the majority now is definitely in favor of supporting you guys any way that we can.
All right.
I was also not involved in
Say that you were there for a couple.
Can I get a point of clarity?
No.
Yes, but it does fall on us now.
No, they-
Point of clarity here.
They got all of us out.
What we're discussing, is this just
I
a
was there for
discussion
that.
topic?
Hold
It was
on,
brought to me today.
hold on. We need order here. Don't make me rap the
My
gavel.
point of clarity is this a discussion topic or is this an actual motion?
This is the discussion topic. That's it. So I think we belabored that enough that we can untable and go back to this since we have clarity on what we can do with your motion. That is a motion. Does anybody disagree with that?
So, do we need a motion? to
Yes,
take it?
you would,
Yeah.
I move to take from the table the motion to reopen negotiations between Cass County and the FOPLC Deputies Detectives Unit for consideration of wages, DB, DC trigger, and retirement contribution cap, and establish a county negotiating team consisting of County Administrator Newton, Finance Director Renfro, Liaison Negotiations Chair Jones, and Sheriff Pankey.
Support.
All right, motion on the floor and support. Any further discussion?
We open it up, it opens up in discussion.
It opens-
So we
there we
vote
go.
to take it from the table, then it opens in discussion.
All right. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we're back on the table.
Yeah, now it's open for discussion.
Now we're, yeah. And we're like,
I would like to say, this has been going on and on and on.
you guys are good.
And we've actually had to call the sheriff's department to our house in the past because of squatters across the lake in the woods that had guns. This is really, really important. So whatever process this has to go through for negotiations or whatever, I don't want to see it drawn out. I would like to maybe have a discussion and then maybe call an emergency special meeting to get this through. I don't want this kicked down the can down the road for months and months and months. This is too important, too important.
I agree.
Well, we can get that done. As soon as we vote yes on this, our very next action tomorrow will be, yeah.
I just want to highlight his comment, it's a start to fix the problem.
Yeah.
If we're going to take the time to open negotiations, let's fix the entire problem while we're in negotiations, so we're not back at this in a year's time.
But next year, depending on the market, depending on the other election, depending on the world, we might not know what.
I'm saying that if the pay, what they're recommending for pay is not where they want it to be, they need to come back to where they want it to be.
Yeah. And I'm on that negotiations this time, so I can make sure that happens.
Is there any value adding a deadline to this?
I don't know if we can.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because again, I
I see why we couldn't.
We could agree to a deadline if they agree to open negotiations, but
But the thing is, why not, this
Yeah.
is the most urgent. Why not just do this, and then we would have the time to open up the rest of the negotiations?
but we can't force their hand on when they vote
They-
to open negotiations or not.
Is it my understanding that you're okay with what was presented to you?
With
Yes.
negotiating this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is they're open to negotiate this.
Yeah, 'cause
He's not saying they're open to negotiate.
Because the current contract runs through
This
December 31st of '25. So
2025, yeah.
at this point, I don't know exactly when next year, but, as we get
Yeah.
into spring next year, most likely, we're
December
going to be starting to
31st.
negotiate
Yeah.
that contract for the
So
preceding, 4 years.
Our intent on opening this, though, is to discuss
Let's
this.
discuss
Yes.
this.
Okay, I mean,
Yes.
for clarification,
Yes.
our intent for opening this is to discuss this.
And
Only that.
Only this.
That's right,
Only
only
that.
that.
And it's only gonna be Matt, me, the sheriff, the union, and Jen. That's it. It won't be all of us.
Well, just so that's clear, because
Yeah.
there's the representation here, so they know that this
Yeah.
is, even though it's stated this is our intent.
Yeah.
I thought the deadline would just kind of further clarify our intention on trying to get this.
And make it our priority.
Yep.
And I think the plan, right, is that I think we can all agree we want to find a resolution that works and get this resolved. And, I know that it goes back a while, and we've got some back and forth and things, like, if we can find, a group that can say, hey, it's been comprised of a subsection of us, and here's what we recommend, and we get a vote together for that, and if we can get it done and get it done pretty quick, I think that's a good outcome.
Very good.
I do think a deadline shows something, though. If you set a deadline in there, the sheriff can show his officers, look, it's set. It will be decided by this point,
That's important.
and that is important.
Can we say March cow? Would that be too late or too
I would
early?
say we would like to call for a special meeting in the month of February to have it
Yeah.
done.
So in the month of February,
I'm agreed with you.
a
as well.
a special meeting to vote.
Yeah, if we get to the point of negotiating and reaching a deal, we can call a special meeting as soon as feasibly possible to vote.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no reason it would have to go. I mean, if everybody's good with it, once a final recommendation is there, that can go right to a special meeting.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
Because the alternative, what, would be, we'd go back to Cal.
And then wait till the
It could get
next.
kicked over to salary committee.
Yeah.
It could
No.
go
Could,
back
yeah.
to Cal again, back to board meeting. I don't know, this
Right.
thing, the alternative could also take a long time.
So
We
is
only
that,
need two-thirds member to call for, two-thirds vote to call for a special meeting. So
is that the deadline, what Matt just said, as
Or, I
soon as,
mean, the chair can call for a special meeting.
I can call for a special meeting
Actually.
anytime. So that'd be the deadline after the negotiations are
Or
over.
can do it automatically too.
Four of us
Outside
can
the
call for a special meeting at any
Right,
time.
right.
Well, I mean, can we, so if, Sheriff, if there is a deadline specifically set for this, would that be beneficial to you? Or just knowing
That
that
way
our
you
goal
can
is
show
to
your
have it?
employees.
No, I understand it's priority, that's the big thing.
It
Okay,
is.
all right, so.
It is.
Yes,
We don't need to add
let's set
any,
a
just
like-
deadline.
Doug got it.
As long as it don't come back to be used against us.
No, it's not. Because I would like to see this done in
All right.
February,
So,
Right,
as long
yep,
as Ryan.
we finished discussing, we wanna, so
right.
we have a motion on the floor and a support to open the negotiations. Is there any further discussion? Do we need roll call for that, you think? Or just say all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hallelujah.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the motion that was laid on the
That
table.
was my original
We took it
one.
on the table.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I can help you write that if you need it.
I'm good.
Okay.
All right. Can we please skip 18?
Motion to adjourn?
There it is.
All right.
This meeting's adjourned.
Who seconded that?
This, what, to adjourn?
Yeah.
Nobody. I just
All
I just.
There was no,
Seconded.
there was nobody contesting, so